The extreme weather also caused severe inconvenience to the students sitting for the GCE ordinary level examination this year.
Students and teachers from the Kirimatiyava Sri Sumnasara Navodaya school in the Kulyapiti Educational Division were not able to attend school today owing to floods in the area. Students from the Gaj Nagam Mahavidyalaya in the Mahav Education Division 2 were not able to sit for the exam today owing to floods. A special examination will be arranged for the students who could not sit for the exam on the 17th and 18th due to the bad weather. We haven't received any reports from the southern, western, eastern and the Sabaragama provinces today. But there are some reports from the northwestern, over and central provinces. We will take appropriate measures to be fair by everyone.
Nearly 1,500 soldiers have been dispatched to assist people affected by the extreme weather. The Sri Lanka Navy has deployed personnel and boats to assist in relief operations, while the Sri Lanka Air Force is also on standby.
10 persons who were stranded in the Waskamo National Park were rescued today by the Sri Lanka Navy. The group had begun their trip 3 days ago from the Valithudu area in Bakamuna. However, they could not return owing to rising flood waters. They were later rescued after security personnel responded to a 119 emergency call.
Now, floods and landslides have disrupted train services on the Northern Railway line. Thereby, services on the Northern line have been restricted to Kurunegala. The Department of Railways says that owing to falling earth embankments, train services have been suspended between Kandy and Matale. Meanwhile, train services on the upcountry line have been restricted to Nanoya owing to a derailment between Ohuya and Indalgashinda. Now, what will be the weather like for the next few days, and what is really causing this extreme weather condition in the country? Newspaper's Nadim Majid dig deeper into this situation and the current weather situation in the country, and we will have that report coming up later on the news bulletin, so stay tuned for that.
Red rain experienced in various parts of the island. A statement that a microorganism was the cause of the red rain. It is revealed that the red rain has a high iron content. Medical Research Institute begins investigating the phenomenon. Today, red rain in Hikkadua. Rain mixed with a white substance experienced in Horana. Isn't it important to speedily uncover the reason for this phenomenon?
The Department of Archaeology says that skeleton remains that were discovered from private land in the Galle Fort date back to the Dutch era. Now, the department's Director of Excavations, Dr. Nimal Pereira, said that evidence pointed to 3 burial sites at the location.
An archaeological assessment was initiated on the land located in the Galle Fort after a permit was sought for the construction of a building on the land. Several skeletal remains were discovered during the archaeological assessment, and the Director of Excavations of the Department of Archaeology, Dr. Nimal Pereira, visited the site yesterday. There have been many ancient Dutch places of worship erected here. Cemeteries have also been located here. These might be the remains from those cemeteries or catacombs. Meanwhile, according to the police, a forensics team will begin investigations on the mass graves in Matale. The police said that the investigations will determine as to what era the remains belong to.
In more local news, the police stated that the deaths of a school teacher and her 2 children in a fire at her house in Rakmalan yesterday is a homicide. Police media spokesperson SSP Prashant Jayakodi said that the post-mortem report had determined that the teacher and 1 child had been strangulated while the other child was killed in the fire. The post-mortems were held at the Colombo South Teaching Hospital. It's time now for Action TV.
The largest prison constructed in the country since the end of British rule, the Pallekele prison in Kandy, will be declared open on the 30th of this month. Accordingly, about 600 female inmates from the Valikada, Kalutara, Wariapola and Nigamba prisons are due to be transferred to Pallekele. In addition, it was decided at the discussion last Tuesday chaired by the Commissioner General of Prisons to transfer 150 female inmates in remand custody at the Kandy Remand Prison and a selected group of female suspects who are in remand custody in other prisons across the island to this prison complex. This decision has been arrived at despite statements made by prison officials that there aren't enough facilities at the prison complex to transfer the inmates. Initial plans to construct this prison complex were made 50 years ago. Since then, the position of Commissioner General of Prisons has been held by persons appointed from outside the department. The tenure of the current Commissioner General of Prisons, who is the 5th such Commissioner General, will conclude on the 30th of this month. Several incidents that occurred at numerous prisons during his tenure have left a permanent black mark on the prison system in this country. In addition, for over 1/4 of his tenure, prison officials have not been paid allowances, including their overtime allowances. Against this backdrop, a sum of 3 million rupees has been allocated for the opening ceremony of the Pallekele prison, which is to take place on the 30th of this month. While construction work at the prison complex is still underway, the kitchen and residential facilities for prison officials are yet to be completed. In such a situation, won't the opening of this prison complex be viewed as just another tamasha? Minister of Rehabilitation and Prison Reforms, this one is over to you.
As promised, let's now cross over to News First Nadim Majid for the weather forecast for the next few days.
Now, Sri Lanka is currently in the northeastern monsoon system. As a result, northeasterly winds blowing across the country are causing disturbances in the upper atmosphere. Now, the resulting weather system that has been created by this disturbance has caused heavy rains to be experienced in several parts of the island, especially in the north, the east, the north-central areas of the island, and of course the eastern face of the Central Hills as well. Now, this is not to say that the other parts of the island are not experiencing rains, because occasional thunder showers can be experienced in various parts of the island as well. Now, if you look at satellite images of this weather system, we can see that it is steadily moving towards the Arabian Sea, and as it is moving across, it starts to steadily dissipate. Now, if we look at sea areas across the country are of course of special concern, because if we can see from Mana, Galle and Potuville, now the seas of those areas will be especially choppy, and those heading out to sea should exercise extreme caution. Let's take a quick look at the weather forecasts for tomorrow. In Colombo, we can see cloudy skies with the occasional thunder showers. Also in Kandy, we can see occasional thunder showers during the evening time. In Anuradhapura, we can experience thunder showers throughout the day. We can expect thunder showers throughout the day in Anuradhapura. Also in Galle, cloudy skies and occasional heavy rains. In Ratnapura as well, cloudy skies accompanied by the occasional thunder shower. In Dambulla, we can see occasional thunder showers in the evening time. Jaffna, of course, will experience thunder showers during the day, probably throughout the day as well. And in Trincomalee, we can see a very similar situation, cloudy skies accompanied by strong heavy rains and possibly thunder showers as well. So those are the weather forecasts for tomorrow. We can see that throughout the island, in spite of the northeasterly winds affecting those areas that we mentioned earlier the most, we can see that these winds will also cause heavy rains, thunder showers and cloudy skies to be experienced in most parts of the island.
On to business news now. The number of tourist arrivals in the country this year surpassed the 950,000 mark today.
A couple from Poland who arrived at the BIA in Katunayaka became the 950,000 tourists to visit the island this year. Sri Lanka Tourism had arranged a warm welcome for the couple at the airport.
It's full of surprises from the beginning, so and it's a very nice welcome.
The highest number of tourist arrivals in the country prior to this year was registered last year, with 855,975 tourists arriving in the country. The country has seen 94,000 more tourist arrivals so far this year compared to last year, an increase of 11%. According to the tourism plan drawn up in 2011, the government's target for this year is 1 million tourist arrivals. While the government plans to achieve the 2.5 million tourist arrivals mark by 2016, it also expects to generate revenue of $2.75 billion from the industry.
We We start off our sports news this evening with a look at some cricket news. Australia's Peter Siddle and Mitchell Starc shed 6 late wickets on the 5th and final day of the first test against Sri Lanka to help their team seal a 137-run win at the Bellarive Oval in Hobart today. Australia, who won the toss and decided to bat first, declared their first innings on 450 for 5, while Sri Lanka in reply were bundled out for 336. Australia then posted 278 all out in their second innings, setting Sri Lanka a victory target of 393 runs. Sri Lanka resumed their run chase on an overnight score of 65 for 2 with Kumar Sangakkara and skipper Mahala Jayawardene at the crease. Jayawardene was the first to head back to the dressing room today when he was dismissed by Peter Siddle. Sangakkara reached his 40th Test half-century, which included 6 boundaries, before he was trapped in front by Siddle. Thilan Samravira helped Sri Lanka recover by contributing 49 runs. But Sri Lanka's dogged resistance ended when Peter Siddle and Mitchell Starc took turns picking up wickets. Siddle ended the match with figures of 9 wickets for 104, which earned him the Man of the Match award. Mitchell Starc took 5 wickets for 63 runs, which was his second 5-wicket haul. The second test of the 3-match series will commence on Boxing Day at the Melbourne Cricket Grounds.
Mitchell Starc will get the 5 and Australia will get the victory. They have had to work so hard for it today and right through the 5 days for that matter.
The International Cricket Council said that match officials have found no evidence of ball tampering in the Hobart Test between Australia and Sri Lanka and no charges will be laid. Speaking after the conclusion of the first test today, Peter Siddle and Sri Lanka's skipper Mahala Jayawardene commented on the ball tampering row. Australia pacer Peter Siddle took 9 wickets to help the hosts to a 137-run victory in the series opener, but also found himself at the centre of a row after a picture of him apparently picking at the seam in Sri Lanka's first innings circulated on social media.
There's a picture going around on Twitter, but Twitter you can say what you want and it doesn't really, obviously there's no consequences, and if you took a picture of every time I turn around and run into bowl, it's going to look exactly like that same picture. So it's if you watched a video of it, you'd just see me turning around, holding the ball and running in. But you take a snap of a still picture, you can make anything look unreal. So that's their opinion and one that's obviously not warranted.
Sri Lankan skipper Mahala Jayawardene said they had not made a complaint.
It's something that we saw on television which was shown and that was it. I mean, nothing else. As nothing came from our management, we just wanted to make sure that the officials saw what we saw on television. That's it. Simple as that. We never made any official complaint about it. We just moved on.
Match referee Chris Broad said in a statement that the umpires frequently inspect the ball during play and did so again after they had reviewed the video footage in question on Sunday. Broad noted that the umpires found no evidence to suggest that the condition of the ball had been changed.
Moving away from cricket, Manju Wanyarachi won the 56kg bantamweight event at the 86th National Boxing Championship in Kandy today. Wanyarachi got the better of Gayan Virakodi of the Sri Lanka Army team in the final to claim a 21 points to 14 win. This is the first championship Manju Wanyarachi competed in after serving a 2-year ban from the sport.
Well, that's it from all of us here at the MTV News First Desk for today. We'll see you again tomorrow. My name is Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Ramesh Rugal Bandaro. Good night.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.